My running career consisted of about 2 years in my mid 40s, and I was always getting hurt. Always, always, always getting hurt. And I think in those days, I thought if you kept your hips straight and didn't move them and kept your arms low, that was good form and you could run forever. And that turned out to not be true. And then I got busy with life and stopped hurting myself. And then about when I turned 65, I thought, well, technically you're running out of road in life. So now might be a really good time to enjoy it. So I decided to start running and got a treadmill because I didn't want to run anywhere that I couldn't get home. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You just don't want to call somebody and say, you'll need to come get me. I'm at the end of the block. I can't make it back. So started that way. And then the pains started again. And so I just started Googling, what do you do about this or what do you do about that? So what do you do about one side lower back pain spasming? What do you do with plantar fasciitis? What do you do about Achilles soreness? And it all seemed to sort of be adding up to your form is not good. So then I started looking at, well, run tall, make sure that you do this or you do that. And it was not fitting together because as soon as I did something, then something else would not feel right. So that's when I came across, I don't even know how I found the balanced runner. I couldn't even tell you. It was just in some Google search and, oh, there's a YouTube, I'll try that. And it was the first time that it made sense to me that it was a whole body thing. You couldn't just concentrate on lifting those knees a little tiny bit higher or, doing the pulling the string up in your head to run taller. And so it was the first time that that made sense to me. And I thought, wow, I think there's more to this than I think. And so I wanted to explore that. So those were the things that I was struggling with. That's really kind of how I found the balanced runner. I started with the online camp and and this sort of falls into something unexpected, which is in the past when I had tried to do yoga, I would be filled with rage within about 3 minutes.
Wow.
And my kids said, well, that's diagnostic. And I told them to stop talking to me. But what I found was the same experience with the balanced runner. So the very first online camp exercise, I was very irritated and could feel that anger coming up. And but I also wanted to run. So it was making a decision. Are you going to continue with this and sort of let whatever this is pass so that you can get your body working? And unfortunately was able to do that. And the payoff in that was just remarkable to me because it was the first time that I could sort of say, this all works together. You're not just focusing on one thing. This is part of a whole system, a body system. And I think having been so out of touch with my own body, physical body for so many years, of course I felt rage. It was just sort of a reaction like, no, I don't do that. Mm-hmm. And I think the balanced runner, the Feldenkrais, all of the lessons and seeing them as explorations was really turning points for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah. It was not what I expected, but it was so much more, so much more.
That's great. That's great. What did you expect?
Because I didn't know very much, I expected some kind of strength exercises, or do this, don't do that. What I got instead was don't struggle, don't force it. Make the movement smaller. If you can't make it smaller, do it in your head. And it was just sort of a reversal of how I thought this would work. It was a letting go, and at the same time a participation that I did not expect.
Yeah. 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 It's very opposite the educational system, right? Like,
Work harder, punish your body, make it do more than you think it can do, just tough it out. And it was like, no, that's not really how your body's going to get better. That's not how it's going to understand itself better. And I think the other thing that surprised me was how the lessons you didn't then start running, practicing what you learned in your lesson. It was an experience. And so, what I noticed was in my brain, I would be imagining what I had done in the lesson, just, drinking a cup of coffee. Oh, yeah, I remember that, kind of thinking about that. And then I would go to run and I would try and think about the lesson. It's like, you don't have to think about it. Just let it be what it is. And then it was smooth. Sometimes it took a couple days, but it was smooth. And after a couple of the refreshers, after the main lesson, then the refreshers, it would really be phenomenal. I was very surprised at how my body was working differently, and it was easier and it was more fun.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. Yeah. The way I've come to explaining that is the lesson teaches you something about yourself.
Yes.
Not something about running. Like,
Yes.
you would be running differently and better if there was something you knew about how your body works that you don't right now know. And when you learn that about yourself and then you go and run, it all just works better, right?
Yeah, something is sort of freed up, and it's almost like you don't have to think about it. It becomes a very natural movement when it wasn't before.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Awesome.
really, really surprised me.
Awesome. And so you had pain, you had lower left back
Yep.
pain and spasm, you had left hip pain. And so what is all of that like now?
If I sit too much, I will get the hip pain,
Mhm.
and that's on me. But I would say I don't really have any pain anymore. And I can run faster, I can run slower, and I don't have pain. And even when I'm running slow, which can be excruciatingly boring at times, it's still fun because it's fluid. And I'm not going to, win any senior Olympics awards, for speed, but the joyfulness of it and the lack of pain is very affirming.
Mhm.
Is the
Yeah,
best way to put it.
that's great. And so are you able to run consistently now?
Yes, and what I'm working toward again is I want to do a half marathon. I figure if I don't do it at 67, the chances of doing it at 68 go down exponentially. So I signed up for one, and I'm just building up miles in a way that I don't hurt myself, and can really enjoy that. And I just want to finish. It's
Mhm.
not about the time, it's about doing it. So that's my goal. That's in June.
Great.
Yeah,
I've had people do their first marathon in their late 60s. So can be done.
it could
Can be
happen.
done. So what would you say to a person like you, who maybe tried running a couple of decades ago, didn't work out, kept hurting their body, and really wants to try again and get to where it feels good?
I would say if you want the adventure, this is worth it. If you want the experience of being able to say, I could do this into my 80s, I could enjoy this. I can be active. I can be as alive as I can be. This, the balanced runner whole system is about more than running. It's about finding you and finding out you can run also. Those are two separate things in my mind.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for talking with me and sharing all of that.